What is up, guys? Annie Tier Guild Forever gonna be reacting to actually this isn't really a reaction, this is a read along. This is technically a read along of a wild last boss appeared. So this was a donation request by Danny. If you appreciate like me reading along to this and you enjoy it, make sure to thank Danny. I will have to say this, I know I've read light novels before and I haven't continued. I will get back to it. One thing I wanted to actually, one second. Sorry if you heard a loud noise in the background. But anyway, it should be better now. But yeah, if I make any mistakes, if I get confused in anything, feel free to correct me. I welcome it. If anything, I encourage it. That way it lets me stay on top of the story. But I'll do my best. We're gonna read 3 chapters. I'm not sure if we're gonna cover it all in this one take, but if not this take, I'll just do a separate take. Anyway, let's give it a read. Nobody could move, neither the king on his throne, or his soldiers, or even the court mages. Not even the king's advisor, who'd live over 200 years. Everyone saw the figure and was drawn in, absorbed in its presence, and yet drowned in utter fear. Her fluttering hair was golden, that turned into a shade of scarlet. Is it probably the character image here? Anyway. As if someone had a gradation effect over it. Her eyes, which seemed to see through everything, were a fire-like scarlet, covering her unblemished white skin, was as pure white dress and a cloak of crimson. Her appearance was so beautiful, symmetrical and flawless. It made one realize the difference between them and perfection, going as far as to result in feelings of misery. So apparently, again, I'm assuming they're talking about this girl in the image, the blonde one. Apparently, she's so perfect that it makes everyone awe and admiration and to a degree jealousy. Okay. And peeking out of her cloak was proof of being one of heaven-winged, while at the same time being the taboo of the same race. Large, pitch-blacked wings, as if a true king had just returned. People bowed their heads in fear. They could not raise their heads, they could only face forward. Knees shaking, they assumed the position of a retainer welcoming their master home. Heads stuck to the ground. Wow, they're almighty figure, essentially. She was the perfect example of a king whose presence commanded the space around them, prompting people to prostrate themselves just by standing there. She had the presence and dignity of a supreme ruler, on one that would brook no argument, as well as the dress of a leader. By the way, if my English isn't like the best, I apologize. I do my best. So hopefully you guys still like it. Like, I don't mind being corrected. Just don't be a douche about it. That's all it is. Standing there, supreme ruler, dignity, as well dressed as a leader, and in the center of that whirlpool, the girl who forced all the people in the castle to prostrate themselves, who gained total control of the place without lifting a finger, smiled silently and thought, "This is bad. Some people I don't know are bowing to me. What is this? Prank? What do I do? Just how did all this happen? Someone please help me." It wasn't anyone else. Wait, it wasn't anyone else but her who was most confused in that situation. Oh, so we're changing perspectives to another character. Okay. Oh, sorry, just moved my cursor. Next page. Why is this happening to me? This is probably first in the order of things I should explain, but there's something I should say before that. I am male. Wait, what? I am perfectly healthy, normal, everyday boy, With that a premise, with that as a premise, I'd like to listen. First, let's see. I was playing a game, just like usual, the game being an X-Gate Online. X-Gate Online was an online game that got released in 2027. We're only like a few years behind them. And this year was their 6th anniversary. Apparently, it was based off a family-friendly Orthodox RPG set in Misgar's fantasy world of swords and magic. Okay, I'm starting to get an SAO vibes right now, which got turned into a tabletop RPG. Before that, turned into an online game. Unfortunately, I never had the original console, so I never played the original game. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, guys. Give me a quick second. I'm sorry. I know I'm doing this while I'm reading, but I just realized there's like no audio in the background. There's like no background music, which makes it kind of dull. So I'm sorry about that. Give me one quick second. I'm gonna just find like something good to play in the background. Just something to play in the background. That way it doesn't feel too boring-ish. There we go. Much better. Sorry about that. That should probably be a lot better. I'm sorry once again. Anyway, continue. No, well, I had considered buying it. The console was called Dream Station. Okay. Dream Station, sure. All right. Basically PlayStation. I see what they did there. Or Dressed for short. But the Dressed was a console from 20 years ago. It was really hard to find. There weren't any antique game shops anywhere near me either. Anyway, it was like that. Since the setting of X-Gate Online was so straightforward and unorthodox, it was really easy for beginners to get into. People fought using mainly swords and magic, and there were monsters and elves and fairies. Basically, there were a lot of races mixed among each other. You know, you hear that shit so often, right? That's exactly what Orthodox is. It's still familiar somehow. Even after all these years, I was a high school student back when I first started this game, and I just started because I kind of felt like it. There wasn't any real reason for it, and it wasn't like I was invited by a friend either. It was just a whim. I noticed it by coincidence, and it was free to play, so I decided to try. That's all my motivation was. It was simple. In the end, I got super into it. I had all my passion. At any rate, I went as far as I could to buy time to play. Anytime I was free, I was playing. By the time I'd realized, I'd already started buying items and real money, and I ended up getting a part-time job putting stickers on merchandises to make money and spend on the game. Why a job that I could do at home? Because if I went out, I wouldn't be able to play my game. Oh, I see. I barely even wanted to go to school. And of course, I was part of the Go Home Club. What was lucky for me and unlucky for the largest portion of players was that there was a limit to how long you could play each day. Isn't that kind of like a Chinese rule or something? I'm not sure if it's Chinese or Korean, where like you're only allowed to play a set amount of game and then a set amount of time on a game if you're like a minor and it just shuts down or something. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. You guys can inform me. It was probably to try and control the growing number of online game addicts. But for now, let's make that the reason why about 10 years ago, they passed a law restricting online play. So, of course, X-Gate Online couldn't ignore the law and made it so that nobody could play for more than 10 hours a day. Bruh, I don't even play that long in a game. At most, I play a game as like between 2 to 4 hours. 10 hours? I can't do that. Oh, my bad. Thanks to that, I was able to log basically the same playtime other addicts even while going to school and maintain my status as one of the top players. Oh, okay. I guess that works because everyone has to go through it and you don't have to worry about people like upstaging you. But all right. Cool. At any rate, I put my all into raising my character. I leveled up a bunch of jobs so their limit and even tried changing them around. The selling point of this game was extremely extensive character creation. If I remember right, there was over 10,000 parts to create from. I don't actually know them all. The fact that you could combine those parts freely to create an essentially infinite amount of avatars led me to like my own character even more, drawing me in further. The character I created with that system was Lufas Mafhal, Heaven Doing Girl. Wait a minute. So the guy is actually the girl? Like the blonde, like the blonde girl that they were talking about early on, that's the guy. Hopefully I'm right. The Heaven Winged were one of the playable races in this game. Their characteristics were that they could fly in exchange for I'm sorry. Sorry, it's just like I just realized. Let me cuz you know, I'm being cut off here. Hopefully you guys can still see me fine. Okay. Anyway, in exchange for high basic stats, they couldn't learn attack magic at all. They were called the Race of Kings and had an inborn charisma that could force other animals to follow them. That was reflected in-game too, in the form of racial skill that that immobilized others if the level gap was too high. Well, it was completely useless for things like boss fights though. I trained and trained Lufas. No matter if I paid for the item or not. I didn't hesitate to equip the best stuff, and I took part in every event that gave good loot. Eventually, I started a country. I gathered other players who wanted to join in and into a combined force. And although at first we were small, we grew and grew. One of the selling points of the game was a system called War. Two factions would bet everything and fight, and the losing country would be absorbed into the winning country. Lufus used this system to its fullest and conquered many different countries. Of course, although it referred to as conquering, all the wars were started with both parties' consent. Doing so without consent was just thievery. Something like that would just get you exposed immediately and ostracized and hated just as fast. There was also one more selling point to this game: the novel system. Okay. It was a system that partnered with the internet's largest novel submission site, where the things that players did in-game got turned into official canon in the form of a novel. That's pretty good. So your story can literally be canon. I started a war for this reason. We went through this much trouble to finish a quest, sent those things in the official site, and anything that accepted would get displayed on that official homepage. If you paid money, you could get even small events made into a story. So everywhere in Xgate Online was a story, and the players were all the main characters, and a large critical events were turned into stories free of charge. My character, Lufus, became a semi-official character who all the players knew. She destroyed and taken over many enemy states and was the first character since the game started to combine the entire world into a single country and reign over its great conqueror. Lufus Mafhal The Black Wings of Terror. That's right. Once I managed to take over the world and created an empire. Wow. So this kid, I don't know his name exactly, but he basically created this character, Lufus, became essentially canon in the game and is known worldwide amongst most players, or if not all players. That's crazy. That's crazy. So he was able to do this through I'm not gonna lie to you, you can say he grinded, but let's be honest, this kid was pay to win. This kid was clearly pay to win. Anyway, let's continue. As one would expect, I couldn't take over the official last bosses, the Devil King's minions, but everyone other than the free players became citizens under Lufus. The above event was treated grandly by the above novel system, and people started saying a lot of different things about Lufus. If I remember right, they were things like, "You're a wild last boss," or "Geez, why don't you just become the last boss?" But then a problem happened. A unified world was honestly not fun game-wise. Huh. Okay. He wasn't happy with making a unified game world, but why? It was a waste of a fun mechanic in the war system, and that made it harder for new players to make their own new countries. So I consulted with other high-level players, and we agreed on holding a player create event. Okay. We contacted a famous novelist on the site and had him create a new crux of history. The story went like this. The world was invaded by the great conqueror Lufus and unified through force. However, heroes rose up. Even while being ruled, they waited for a chance along with others who agreed. They stood against the root of evil, Lufus, in rebellion. Oh, great heroes, such bravery is true nobility. Now, drag the great conqueror who exploits tyranny to no end down from her throne. Yeah, I'm straight up the bad guy. Huh, okay, you made yourself the main villain. Everyone's trying to take you down. You literally are the last boss, I assume. Essentially, we split the world into two forces. The Conqueror's army led by Lufus, and the Army of Light led by the heroes. Then we proceeded to leave the official last boss in the dust as we held the biggest battle in the history of the game by ourselves. So, spoiler conclusion for you, I lost. Really? Okay. I mean, basically all the most powerful players were on the other side. As if I could win. But I still tried my best. By the time I noticed, I was already alone, but I still rampaged as hard as I could. I used my racial skill to neutralize all weak players around 80%. Nice, okay. So even though you lost, you still have some major influence and you're able to hold your own. And of them, and did my absolute best and managed to take it to a one-on-one fight with their leader. Okay. Well, at that point, my HP was already dropping past 20% line, though. So you weren't even in good shape because the leader was probably already like at full health, full like skill uses and everything. Yeah, it was over in one hit. I made the first move, managed to bring my opponent's HP down to 0 once. Are you serious? Okay, you is a savage. But he used the skill Huge Combat, something totally for main characters, to revive himself and win a miraculous come from behind victory. At least that's how he played it. Well, that's kind of BS. I'm not gonna lie to you, that would tick me off. I mean, he definitely took that last attack on purpose. After getting hit by the leaders and all the other high-level players, ultimate moves in a show of complete overkill, I was subjugated to a subspace and seal, a magic spell that exiles someone or something into subspace, or so the flavor text goes. It even came with the description, finishing an enemy with this will extend the time it takes for them to revive. Please stop. I'm already out of HP. Well, I didn't like the idea of getting wrecked without even saying anything. So before I was completely gone, I even tried to roleplay saying, "Well done, heroes. You have done a wonderful job surpassing us. If it's with all of you, you might be able to win, even against the detestable Devil King." Yeah, it was because I was young. Just like that, Lufus lost, and the world was freed from her grasp. That was how the end of the story. That was how the end of the story went. The reactions to it were really good, enough that people said things like this can just be the real ending. That was a good last episode. Hey, don't forget about the Devil King, lol. Devil King? Oh yeah, the one that hid until Lufus was dead. What was his name again? And lol, that was too cruel. It was big enough that it basically sparked an internet party. Even though I lost, I still managed to complete a huge event and was able to satisfy at that. I was even grinning from ear to ear as I looked at the message boards. So when I tried to log in the next day, an unfamiliar character popped up on the screen. Her name was the god of all creation, Aloveness. In the story, she was the one who created the world of X-Gate, and put it bluntly, she was basically the avatar of the devs. Oh, okay, I see it. Okay, so basically the devs themselves. She represents the devs. She was a cheat character that popped up during times like when a player logs in for the first time, or during official events, and although she does have her stats set, they're so ridiculously high no one would even be able to even think of beating her. Bullshittery, like they say. Like, what the hell? Okay, I'm not even gonna read that number, I already know. You screwing with me? Even bosses don't go past 1 million in this game, you know? So the official cheater Avalanus appeared and said this to me. "I shall bestow upon you a new role." I took this as some sort of message from the devs. Right now, Lufus was treated as a big boss character in the level of the Devil King in X-Gate Online. Of course, the game company wouldn't be able to ignore her, especially if the next day I tried to log in again after such an event like nothing happened. Yeah, I get it. Even I think it's kind of uncool. I was thinking like, if I just log in like this, what'll happen to the story if I just revived like nothing happened? So honestly, this was a godsend. That's why I clicked the yes option in response to the message. I had no idea what kind of event it was, but I've been getting through official events just fine up until now. So whatever they plan for me, bring it on, I say. With the thought in mind, then my vision white out. And now we're back to the beginning, with all these people prostrating themselves around me. My chest was feeling especially heavy, and I had the feeling of loss along with the lighter feeling around my okay, the hell. I noticed the dress and cloak I was wearing, as well as my long hair on the edge of my sight, along with black wings growing out of my back. Looking with my vision, which has gotten strangely good, and using a window that was a distance away, I saw an unbelievably beautiful girl reflected back at me. It was like a joke. I became Lufus? No way! Okay, so he became... Wait, so... But he's a dude. So... Okay. Alright, is this like gender bend-ish? Is this like a gender bend series or something? But interesting. Okay. So, he basically was a really good player at X-Gate Online. Basically, he became the final boss. And, well, he got screwed over. He literally got wrecked. Considering, though, his character, how strong the character Lufus was, stats, pay to win points, I guess you could say, it does feel kind of BS that he would lose. But this aloveness, I don't even think that was the devs. I think this was like some kind of like isekai fairy or something. I wish I can see this aloveness, like an image or something. That way I can see more or less how she looked like. But he got isekai'd, right? Essentially, he got isekai'd. Or she, because he's now a he now, which is kind of funny. I'm a guy, right? Lufus is a girl, right? She was a beautiful girl character that I made after several hours of scratching my head over her. And for a stupid reason too, you know? I just thought I'd be more into looking at a cute girl the entire time rather than a guy. Like, what's even the point of becoming her? Now I can't see her at all. Now, we're quite unable to grasp the entire picture. Will someone explain this to us? Hey! I knew that my voice would be different. I was prepared for it. But what was up with this with my speech? I tried to say sorry. I'm not really sure what's going on, so can someone explain this to me, please? But instead, something needlessly pompous spilled out of my mouth. Isn't this exactly how I used to RP Lufus when I was playing? What is wrong? Children of man, raise your heads. How long are you planning to lay there? Or is this the natural posture for your people? If that is so, we apologize for our ignorance. No, that's not what I meant. This is just roundabout sarcasm. This isn't what I want to say. What's wrong? Please get up. If you keep staying like that, we'll get nowhere. We'll get nowhere. Also, this might be rude, but this is just how you all are normally? If that's the case, I'm sorry. I didn't know. That was what I was really trying to say. But like that it was just really oppressive. Oh no. With that habit, everything I say gets blown out of proportion. What should I do? Ah, right. That's what it is. My racial skill. Pressure. I probably have it turned on. I should be able to turn it on and off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Come on. My pressure. Yeah, my pressure tingles. Ah. Is that it? Excuse us. What a thoughtless thing we have done. Of course it would be difficult to talk like this. Pressure. Off. I tried to will it off, but unlike in the game, no convenient window pop up, and all the strange old guys stayed with their heads down and wouldn't move. Hey, I said off. You get it, right? I want to stop my skill. Please just take a rest, Pressure. Ah, no. Please turn off. I'm begging you. My desperate pleas must have worked, as all the people that had stayed prostrated up until now raised their heads and started sending terrified looks my way. Yeesh, okay. Oh, so that's how she... Yo, yeah, she does look scary as hell. I'm not gonna lie to you. You look terrifying. Oh. This figure is... No way. She was alive? Some stick of a man with long ears dressed like a priest said while shaking like a leaf, "How rude. I don't remember ever dying." Ah, but didn't Lufus just die yesterday? Oh, what a mistake we've committed. Something that will never be forgiven. Never. Just why did the ritual for the descent of the hero? Instead of a hero, we have released a great conqueror. We understand now. It seems you all know us. Then this situation, we shall have you explain it. It seemed like that stick knows me. Then things should go a little better if I get him to explain. In order to calm down, I put on a smile and tried to place my words as nicely as possible. To convenience him, I was harmless. Do not be afraid, child of man. I shall do nothing to you. Do not worry, and tell us everything. But still, can't I do anything about the way I speak? The Black Wing Conqueror, Lufus Mafhal. It happened 200 years ago from now. The girl who distinguished herself turned out in the year 2800 of the Misgar's calendar to be hiding her true nature as an absolute ruler. Her power would behead dragons bigger than mountains with a single swing of her arm, and her legs could carry her leagues in an instant. She was arrogant, and no one was more ruthless. Anybody that tried to stand against her would be beaten to the ground. Weaklings would not even be allowed to stand before her, and even the strong were torn to pieces like scraps of paper. It was even said that she was only opponent the Devil King ever avoided. There is no shortage of historians who insisted that she had been allowed to remain in power. We might be living in a world without a Devil King at all right now. She was strong, relentlessly so. She used that strength to unite the world into one country and ruled over all races, accepting devil folk. However, being too strong incurs fear. Back then, people were not nearly as weak as they are now. There were heroes that could oppose Lufus, who gathered their courage and stood up to her. The people came together, and with the objective of casting her down, they rose up against her. That was probably the time people were most united in recorded history, whether as a ruler or an enemy, for better or for worse. No one united people like Lufus had. The hero who came together with bonds like steel splendidly brought down her stronghold. They defeated her royal subjects, the 12 heavenly stars, and finally managed to drag Lufus herself to the battlefield. The battle lasted the entire night. The sheer aura of willpower that Lufus emitted would not even permit weaker opponents to stand, and out of 8 million brave warriors, 7 million of them had their wills crushed. While carving through, piercing, or crushing countless warriors, Lufus ran the line between life and death. Even while being cut by swords, pierced by spears, and burned by countless magics, she finally managed to land a fatal blow on the Chosen, the symbol of everyone's hope. But the Chosen stood up once more, using hope as his power. The power of friendship, man. Even after losing his life, he thrust his sword in order to destroy evil. Then, the heroes all attacked at once. Not even Lufus Mafhal could escape unscathed. However, even so, she laughed. With a pleasant smile, she shouted as if she would stand up once again. Well done, heroes. You surpassed us splendidly. We have nothing but heartfelt admiration for your bravery and strength. But do not forget, the darkness has not left. With your union, you may yet defeat even the Devil King. But should you lose, the world will be plunged into even greater darkness. Whether your path is one of light or darkness, we will be watching from the depths of hell. Shit, bro. That man, they're very descriptive on battles, the emotions of characters, what's going on at the moment. I'm not gonna lie to you, they're very descriptive. Yeah. Just like that, the story of Lufus Mafhal ended. Having already been defeated, she was further sealed into subspace. Right. That happened during the events of when she was taken down. And it should have been impossible for her to ever return to this world. Should have been. But then how should I explain this situation? How should I explain this black-winged girl giving off an aura of absolute presence? So, how long are you planning to stay silent? You were not going to explain to us this present situation? He pitifully was sat across from Lufus in one of the castle's meeting rooms. The young elf, who 200 years ago succumbed to her pressure without even being able to fight, thought, is this punishment from heaven for trying to summon a hero? The subject of the ritual was to draw in an uninvolved bystander from another world and make them fight. Yes, it was a sinful thing to do. He knew that. That's why he was sure he would receive divine punishment and was convinced that he would be cast down into the depths of hell. Ah, but great creator Aloveness, this is too cruel. It's too much to revive the great conqueror when we were trying to summon a hero. In response to his confusion, Lufus crossed her arms and thought, my wings are in the way. It's hard to sit. The situation wasn't as serious as the young elf was thinking. It took several minutes of waiting for the silent, long-eared hottie to start talking. Long-eared, okay. He threw glances at me every now and again, before immediately getting scared and hiding his face. Even so, he started to slowly, word by word, started talking while still being extremely jumpy and sensitive to whether I was getting angry at every little thing. His story could be summed up into 3 points. 1. Even after 200 years, the Devil King is so scary it ain't funny. Okay, so the Devil King is still relevant to this day. Oh yes. Oh wait, point 2. Oh yes. Let's use an X-Gate spell to summon a hero. Fair. Kind of stupid. Fair. Okay. 3. But somehow, it wasn't a hero, but a last boss that appeared? Last boss that appeared, we are here. So short, and it took him several 10 minutes to say that. Just how scared of me is he? But more importantly, this place really was inside the game. I was already getting there myself. Getting there myself though. Not really that I was 200 I'm sorry, just trying to 200 years after the Mizgars, I knew what kind of unknown world I was even called to. No, but well, to tell the truth, I was a little excited at the situation. I've always been optimistic, and I still feel like as long as I'm having fun, I don't need to sweat the small stuff. I know I could walk the world of X-Gate Online, which I love, as Lufus, who I poured all my heart into making. As an online game addict, this was basically a reward. Oh right, the X-Gate spell is derived from the name of the game, X-Gate Online, and it was basically the blood and guts of the world. The origins went back to when it was still console game apparently, but it seemed like the protagonist of the original game was an average Japanese student. Said protagonist was summoned to another world via an X-Gate, and the game's flow basically led to him beating the Devil King. Anyway, for the online game, it basically was there in name only. To think, a bit of fluff survived. I actually felt a little moved. Oh wait, wasn't the hero supposed to appear in the year 3000 of the Mizgar's calendar? Oh man, then isn't this timing perfect? I don't know if an otherworld hero will appear here in the online game world, but if he does, I should totally get his signature. Still, I needed to figure out what to do first. The elf bro and king over there have been looking so nervous for a while now, and it's making me feel sorry for them. For now, it looks like I'm going to be scaring them constantly by being here. So let's just show them I'm harmless and leave. We see. We understand now. So the Devil King is still alive and healthy. That one is also quite stubborn. The Devil King got apprehended with LOL thanks to me. So hearing he was fine was a relief. So apparently they tried to call a hero in order to conquer him. Yeah, sorry. I ruined your long-awaited coming of the hero scene. Yeah, basically they were trying to get a hero, but instead they got someone who they believe is worse. But the thing is, though, it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not like it's the same character. I mean, it is the same character in the eyes of the public, but he may not be as evil or a last boss. It could still be a last boss as he was when he was controlling her as a character. He is the character. Ah, do not worry. We do not feel like doing anything to this world now. We have already been defeated. Our dreams shattered. There is nothing we want to do now. Are you telling the truth? Indeed, although we lost, we were still satisfied with the ending of that fight. It's unfortunate that ones who defeated me could not even win against the Devil King. But, well, that is fine. More importantly, right now, we just want to see this world and admire it for now, I decided to throw all responsibility for the Devil King to the hero that may or may not appear. I'd rather go sightseeing around Nisgar's than do that. I wanted to walk with my own feet and see with my own eyes. Honestly, I almost wanted to leave right now. A king with no followers and an empty throne, it would be laughable to continue to sing of my supremacy like this, no? Right now, we are not the great conqueror Lufus, but simply a girl who has had her dreams broken. I have no intention of being the great conqueror in this world. Actually, if I did that, I'd totally head straight for the most wanted list, so I won't stand out, and instead have my fill of this world at my leisure. As for how to get back to my world, well, I'll think of that later. So there is no need for your concern. Just forget about us and do what you like. Even try to summon another hero. I can't stand to sit here any longer. I got up off my chair and opened the nearby window. It was a strange thing, but I knew how to move my wings. Something I never had up until now. Like I'd always had them. I even knew how to fly. I was thinking there was no way to physically fly with a person's body and these wings, but my instincts told me I could, and it gave me the go sign. Well then, we will be leaving now. Let us meet again should fates will it. He's just having fun flying and enjoying himself in Lufus's body. I mean, when you have this body of a character you've made and put a lot of work in up till now, of course you want to see how it feels to, you know, actually fly or do everything she is capable of. Well, wait. I ignored the voice trying to stop me and spread my wings. I jumped and my body flew through the air splendidly. I put distance between me and the ground in an instant, and in a blink of an eye, the castle was already the size of a grain. Oh, I'm flying. I'm really flying. I'm like swimming freely through the air. How should I express this feeling? Freedom. Yeah, it's freedom. The joy of being free from the bonds of gravity. My feet were on the ground. My feet weren't on the ground. I was completely free and insecure. making my way through 3D space. I can go in circles. I can go up and down. I can fly as free as I like. I flew above the clouds before descending rapidly, before stopping right above the ground, like bungee jumping without the cord. I started flying up right after almost hitting the ground and returned to the sky where I could see the whole world wrapping around me. Right now, the vast sky was my dominion. There was no annoying crowds or traffic. I could fly as much as I liked. I could go anywhere. That seems like a fun time to me. Haha, flying through the sky like this feels nice. Now then, where should I go first? It was actually more troubling to decide where to go. If we could go anywhere. For now, this country was out. The elf bro might have put out an order to everyone to arrest me. And if that was the case, it'd be annoying to deal with. Jesus Christ. I just want to have a leisurely trip around the world. Oh, that's... We see. So it still stands. While I was wondering what to do, something appeared on the edge of my vision. That something was a black tower climbing high into the heavens. I knew that building that was like the picture of a rude gesture challenging the heavens. I could never forget it. After all, that was the building I built with my friends, a symbol of our power. The Sky Tower Mafhalth. It was my base, made by me, no, by all of us. It seems our first destination is decided. I changed the directions and flapped my wings. The distance to the tower, I could see it in the distance, was unclear. Most likely, it was pretty far away, but it was no problem for me as I was now. After all, I have these wings to fly with. Ha! I flew as hard as I could towards the tower. It was a perfect chance to test just how far this body could go. And more importantly, I wanted to try flying for real. The scenery blew past me at a tremendous rate. The wind caressed my cheeks. This was just my feeling, and I wasn't sure if I was right, but it felt like the scenery was passing by faster than if I was riding a bullet train. And on top of that, I could feel out little details, the distance with my sight. I could easily dodge any birds in my way. It was easy to change directions while keeping my speed. Ah, it feels nice. It's uplifting my heart. Flying was such a simple thing. I never expected it would make me feel this free and be this wonderful. However, all good things came to an end. After only a couple minutes of flying, I reached the tower and I had suddenly put on the brakes. The wind blew violently, and the atmosphere shook. It was only logical that a corresponding amount of wind would follow if something slightly larger than a human were to fly at that speed before suddenly putting on the brakes. A weak opponent might be blown away with just the force of that wind. Next, I climbed past the clouds and yet still higher. I aimed for the top of the tower, made so that only a fraction of the most powerful heaven-winged would be able to reach it with their flight. According to a fairy tale, Icarus, who flew too close to heaven with his wax wings, had them melted and fell to the earth. However, my wings were not wax. Something like the light of the sun would never melt them. I didn't know how many thousands of meters above the ground the top of the tower was, but after reaching it, I looked for the sole entrance built there. There were only two ways to enter the top floor. to come in from the sky or to climb up from the inside. It was a troublesome little tower, if I did say so myself. While reminiscing in my mind, I entered the tower and entered the area where only the leader was allowed. In X-Gate Online, players who created countries, or in other words, armies, were allowed their own base. Most bases were castles, but there was no real need for them to be castles. They were popular, but temples. They weren't popular, but temples or shrines. In extreme cases, calves for some reason could become bases. It made me think, I'm not sure how I feel about the center of a country being a calf, but since it was allowed within the system, there was no complaining about it. A calf though, a calf, and this, I'm assuming this is like taking place within medieval time, the setting of X-Gate Online. So a calf sounds weird, unless that was around. Out of those multitudes of options, I chose the tower. Players were free to design their bases how they wish, so I got really into it. Excuse me. Towers, they were really into it. I customized the tower even more every time our forces grew bigger. And I even incorporated the ideas of players with better aesthetic sense than me. So I managed to make this Mafhal Tower. The single best piece of the architecture in Misgars. It's grown old and worn, but we still see the resemblance. 200 years had passed since the tower was in use, so it was quite worn and dirty. Even so, I could still see the shadows and traces of what the tower used to be. The first thing I did was introduce my butt to the deep crimson throne, which even after being broken, still looked imposing in the room. The broken window was once occupied with stained glass, red, blue, green, gold, brown, orange, and silver. It represented the circle of 7 elements that existed in this world: fire, water, wood, metal, earth, sun, and moon. The glass, which even had the colors labeled, was now broken. However, only traces of it remaining. Elements in games were usually represented by the usual 4: fire, water, wind, and earth, but X-Gate Online's elements were made with the 7 days of the week as reference. In order of weakest to each other, it went water, fire, metal, wood, earth, water, and the player was able to choose their character's elements and the character creator. Of course, this affected the character's magical abilities, so it was important for people planning to play magic users. As for healing magic, in this world, it was called Heaven's Art, and it was treated as completely different from magic, so even the Heaven-Winged race could use it. Heaven-Winged race? So are there other species like her? I thought Lufus was unique, because he said Heaven-Winged race, so I mean, I guess it makes sense. You guys, well, I guess I'll find out, or you guys can let me know. Great, I lost my placement. Oh no, I found it. But the character's element also played a big part in it, messing up making the fire aligned I can't read that. Which basically didn't have any heaven arts in it at all, would make for a sad character. However, failing like that was also one of the fun parts of this game. Running my fingers along the cracked walls, I reminisce back on my fun times. Everyone was there back then. Everyone who followed me talked about just how huge they would make our army. We had fun with other conversations about pointless things or made promises to hunt together. We partied together like idiots way into the night and drank like we were bathing in alcohol. No, wait a second. Why am I remembering it like I was there? Thinking carefully, the Lufus in the game was the one drinking booze. It wasn't me. I was sitting in front of my computer. In the first place, I was thinking of it like it happened a long time ago, but it was only a few days ago that my army split in two. It was way too early to think of it like a nostalgic memory. This wasn't due. Wait, this won't do. I'm sorry. Could it be my memories are mingling in with Lufus? This was mixing between games and reality. Well, given how things are going, that's exactly how it was, though. Also, how strange. This should be our first time seeing this, but we feel it to be nostalgic. We feel relaxed in this place. There was a sense of nostalgia welling up in my chest. It was strange, like I'd come back home after being gone for a long time. Is something wrong with me? Or am I really starting to merge with Lufus herself? At the moment, I couldn't tell. Suddenly I heard a sound. In this place, where I should have been alone, someone other than me made a sound. Without turning my head, I looked towards where the sound originated from and saw an unknown girl. Her pale blue hair. Okay, this is the girl in like the cover. Okay. A pale blue hair like the sea seemed unreal in its color. And her eyes were also a marine blue. She was wearing simple white clothes, and her skin was fine and white like fresh snow. Her face was amazingly well formed. I don't know this face. And the very least, she wasn't a member of my army, who I allowed up here on the highest floor. Who is she? Why is she here? Mistress Lufus, you're Mistress Lufus, Mavhall, aren't you? The unknown girl shouted and ran over to me before gripping my hand. She looked truly happy from her face to her smile, and I got that she was celebrating my return. But sadly, I didn't know her. You. Who are you? So mean. Did you forget me? I'm your loyal advisor, Dina. For these 200 long years, I've always been waiting for your return here, you know. Damn, I was hoping in the next page we would see a picture of Dina, but hopefully we see a picture of her soon. Anyway, Dina, advisor, what is this girl talking about? Right, like apparently like you don't recognize her like at all, so unless this is a trick or something, I'm assuming it's a trick. I had members of my army who acted as advisors, but none of them went by the name Dina. And I didn't have an actual advisor, at least of all, a girl named Dina. No, there was. I remember now. Back when I first made our base, I placed a lot of objects around to decorate the place, and I think one of those was a girl NPC. That's right. Characters were included in the objects you could place around your base. They just walked around randomly and had no meaning and were complete background characters, but I definitely placed one here. I did it for a pretty meaningless reason. That being that it felt kind of lonely being in a base without any mob characters. So I ended up forgetting about her. I think I remembered getting high on myself back in the beginning and got her a weird background like Lufus advisor, but she wasn't capable of combat. And to be honest, she was basically a decoration that happened to move around and was shaped like a person. So I didn't bother to remember her. So at some point, she really did start to become part of the background. So that girl who I completely forgot gained a will and has been waiting this entire time. Even if I didn't remember, she did. So she'd been loyally waiting here the entire time, fulfilling her role of advisor? Ah, yes. We remember now. Forgive us, Dina. Something was wrong with us. To forget one such as you. This was a game. This wasn't a game. I felt like the truth, which I'd been taking for granted all this time, was suddenly thrusted in front of me. Even if I didn't care or forgot, this world had other lives that would be affected by it. In the game, forgetting something slight like a decoration would pass with just a, "Oh, I forgot about it. Oh well." But that won't fly now. That they're alive, with their own thoughts and sense of self. Good work. Well, protecting this place while we were away, Dina. Your praise is too much. I must never think of her as a human-shaped decoration ever again. I must always see her as an individual, a person. Excuse me, Mistress Lufa, just how did you manage to revive yourself? Ah, that. They tried to summon a hero. Excuse us. We don't know the name of the country for now. The king of a country to the west made an error and returned us from subspace. Thanks to that, as you can see, we are free to move as we wish. West. That means the country of Leviathan? Their movements have been hinting at a hero summoning for a while now. So that's what it was. According to Dina, that country's been that country's been trying to, sorry guys, has been trying their best to summon a hero for a while now. Thanks for the hard work, and well, sorry that I was the one to come out. Indeed, and we are currently dull to the ways of this age. I have heard that the Devil King is still alive and well, though. That's right. Those heroes that defeated you, Lufus, those fools, ended up splitting apart and their own countries before getting beaten to pieces by the Devil King. They're so useless. Ah, yeah, sorry, Dina. Splitting up the army was established beforehand. Actually, that entire event was for our army to split up. Well, as expected, the monolith that was Lufus' army crumbled, and after that, many different players formed their own forces as they liked, aiming to be my successor. So that was how the world split apart, huh? After all, fighting with the Devil King was fighting with the official last boss. Unlike me, where there was no prize even for beating me, beating the Devil King has a clear prize to it. That was a rare item and drops. Of course, it'd be hard to get people to unite for that. In fact, there'd probably have been vicious people getting in the way of others so they could get the prize first. But that's really just in terms of the game. In this world, where the game was real, the split apart of some unknown reason, and no one knew why they lost. No. In the first place, just how much of the game settings were applied here was stuff that got cemented into history of the game. Wait, was stuff that got cemented into the history of the game, like fighting the Devil King, reflected here? Let's reflected here, or did this place have its own history? The more I thought about it, the less I figured I knew. In the first place, it was weird that game setting even applied. Just what kind of relationship does this world and the game X-Gate Online have? They definitely aren't just different worlds that happen to be similar. Mistress Lufus? Ah, sorry, we were just thinking, Dina. I noticed, does Lufus, or the guy, or whoever you want to call him, does he refer to himself in first person? Or third person? I think it's third person, isn't it? I don't know. Ah, sorry, we were thinking, Dina. If possible, could you tell us about what has happened after we left this world? Yes, of course. If I can be of service to you, Lufus, please ask me whatever you wish. Dina replied to me with a smile as clear as cloudless sky. What a nice girl. This girl might become my oasis in this place. For now, I've gotten something I need to protect. It's a simple thing. Cute girls are the world's treasure. It's only natural for a man to want to protect them, but you're a woman now, bruh. You're a woman now, bruh. Okay, I think I'm gonna call it there for tonight. I'm assuming that was one chapter. Danny, you let me know. Yeah, I think that was one chapter. Okay, so the next one is going to be part 2. Okay, so I'm gonna record part 2 separately. I know, like, I probably should do it in one take, but if I do it on one take, it'd probably be like 3 hours long. So I'm just going to do I'm just going to divide this up by chapter. Hopefully it's fine with you guys. This is going to go up on YouTube, by the way. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts. I actually did enjoy this read. Interesting. This is definitely an isekai series, but at the same time, like, it gives me SAO vibes. It's like well, technically SAO is is considered an isekai if I remember correctly. But interesting. So a guy created this character, and now he's basically living the life of said character within this quote unquote game X Gate Online. I don't think it's considered a game anymore though. I think at this point it's his life. Like, he literally lives within the boundaries of this game. Like, look what happened. An NPC who he cared nothing for, which again, we all know about NPCs. We see them all the time in games. An NPC that we see walking around all the time ends up becoming someone so important that Luffy ends up talking to her, Dina. An NPC now becomes relevant. And it seems like this guy's main objective is protecting cute girls, which I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of them throughout this series. And I don't mind it. Again, it's a fun read. It's actually a really fun read. I enjoy reading light novels. I definitely want to get back into it, whether it's through recording or live stream. Not sure if you guys be willing to do a live stream for this. You guys let me know whether I live stream light novel reading or whether I just like read it on my own time. Danny, you let me know. Do you want this more to be like record and upload or live stream? I'm cool either way. Either way is good. I think it's better that I think live streaming might be better that way, in case if I make mistakes or in case if I get confused, you guys can help me. You know what I mean? So you guys let me know what'd be more beneficial. The good thing is I can live stream it on my channel, so it works either way. Still though, again, fantastic read, man. Fantastic read. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed seeing Luffy, how this guy basically becomes the character that he put a lot of effort into. Find it funny, like the way how Luffy was summoned, how the guy was summoned into Luffy's body, basically how they were summoned together. It kind of reminded me of the whole Shield Hero series. So it's like, I like how this turned out, and I'm very interested in seeing how much more we get to dive into this world of Mizgars, and Dina the character was just introduced. So again, it looks like Dina is going to be one of the main pivotal characters with Luffy. I can honestly seeing this being because of how he's in a female's body, I can easily see this being a Yuri. But it's like it's not an issue. I don't mind it whatsoever. Again, you guys let me know your thoughts on this. Danny, hopefully you enjoy it. Again, don't worry, Danny. This is not it. We are going to be reading more chapters throughout the week. I'm sorry if I didn't get to the other 2 chapters, but again, 1 chapter per day is probably good for me because God, Jesus, this makes me lose my breath. But again, hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Did you enjoy the read? Would you guys want to see this be a live stream? That way it's like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? It's easier to help me out in case I get confused. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Make sure to like, comment, all that good stuff. It really helps out the channel. And if you're watching this and you enjoyed this video, let me know. I'd love to see your thoughts in the comment section down below. And yeah, peace. I'm out.